Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesha
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Praschayate Jatarine Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Bhagavata Vrinda
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Bhagavata Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
the key.
Done.
Hare Krishna.
You didn't like my hands being idle?
I just figured, we'd have extra card players. Thank you.
Need to get.
Oh, I saw that one. I saw it at Pradeep's place, but I didn't know this was your handout.
It's not mine. It belongs to.
It looked like
belongs to AJS, I think.
it looked like something business related,
Yeah.
something related to
It's
Pradeep's.
really serious business.
Yeah.
You have to go live there. So do you want to know why I was there?
This is really cool. It's like nice printout.
Oh, right. Oh.
Hay fever.
Oh, no. Okay. We'll try it now. Yep. I forgot my camera. I'll start quite quickly. What time is it now?
No, 6:50.
Okay, right. We'll do half an hour. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnanandana-salakavaksmilitum Yena Tasmai Sri Guru Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapandikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavascha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvatam Sadvagutam Satprajanaya Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalika Sri Visamcham Titcha He Krishna Kadam Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopisa Gopikanta Radha Kanto Namostute Tapta Kamcha Gaurangi Radha Vrindavarasari Visabenu Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpantapuruscha Kripa Sindha Evacha Patananam Pavanaveyo Vaishnava Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're going to look at verse 18.17. Yeah.
Page is it?
630.
That's when the class starts, 6:30.
Yeah, exactly. It's 630. So that's 817. Yashya naktrio bhavo madhir yashya lanani piyate atavi sa imal lokam nahanti na nividyate. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. So here we are in the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and the essence of the whole Bhagavad Gita is summarized in this chapter. Mataji, I've got a spare Bhagavad Gita if you want one.
No.
Sure, just here.
I've got one in the bag.
You don't want to make it?
Just not.
Oh, no, okay, right, no worries.
Thanks.
No, okay. So,
What later?
so that's chapter 18, verse 17.
Near chapter
18, so it's in the last chapter. Yeah. So different editions will have different
Oh yeah.
different page numbers. Yeah.
12. Chapter
18, verse 17.
verse 17, verse 16.
But this is also a different edition.
Yeah, I think everyone's got a different
edition.
public class editions.
Yeah.
So I'll just read it out again. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. So we have to understand, last week we looked at the modes of nature, and we've got the handout there, of what is this false ego and how do you not be motivated by it, to get to what Krishna is discussing here, the transcendental position. As I said quite a few times, when you see the word transcendental, it's discussed, it means above the modes of nature. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a toy to explain our current condition, so we can understand what we're doing, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve, to understand this first. So here you have, I want you to imagine this robot thing is a body, yeah? And this is a soul, and the soul is ended up in this body, okay? Forget about the things that will break off. I've been told I'm not allowed to break this, otherwise I'm in big trouble. It's going to be a challenge. Right? So the soul is now in the body, it's born into the body, and like most people, the soul is trapped in this body. In fact, you have to open this whole thing and get it out, so it's trapped. And then what you have is you have effectively 5 senses in the mind, and then you have the sense organs, the gates in the body, and then you have the effectively subtle body, which is the false ego, mind, and intelligence. And what is happening is the soul is, the body is seeing something shiny, and it's heading that way. And then we'll see something shiny over there as it goes on in life, and we'll start heading over there. And we'll see something shiny over here, it's going to head over here. So it's going to sort of move around. Right? And for most, 99% of human beings in Kali Yuga, this is the condition. Right? Now, in the modes of nature, when it sees this shiny object, in the modes of nature, there's basically 3 sort of things happening, and they can be mixed. So it's goodness, passion, and ignorance. We discussed that. You can see on the handout. Right? So the mode of ignorance is sort of, I don't want to do anything. I don't feel like doing anything. Everything's pointless. There's apathy, laziness. I'm not even interested in what this is, but life is so pointless. I go back to sleep. Okay? That's sort of a very simplified way of looking at it. The mode of passion. Oh, there's something shiny there. Maybe I can use it to enjoy myself. Maybe I can get it, and maybe something else will come along. I'll go over there and get that thing. And something else will come along, and I'll go over there and get this other thing. I'll start accumulating these things, and I'll sit in the corner and look at all the things I've accumulated, and lick my lips and relish them. Yeah. This is material energy. The soul is here, and then in the mode of goodness, it's like, that's interesting. I'm interested in it, but I'm not going to let it possess me. It's kind of useful. Let me see what it's useful for. Maybe I can help somebody with it. Maybe I can do something good with it. I'll pick it up. I'll take it. Let me see if anyone wants it. Maybe someone's lost it. So it's not a possessive attitude in material energy. It's a deep, detached attitude. Obviously, that I'm simplifying very much. So. Now, the problem we have is when we're born in this material world is we bring these impulses of the modes of nature from our previous lives. So actually, Krishna is very carefully explaining in the Bhagavad Gita that we're not actually so much in control here, our real selves. The mind and the intelligence and the false ego and the proclivities, means tendencies, is actually harnessed from all the many previous births. And these modes of nature are dragging us to the objects and actually influencing the way we use the objects. Yeah? So actually what he's, towards the end of this 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, one of the key things he explains to Arjuna is that actually you've got this nature to be a Kshatriya from previous lives. Yeah? For many, many lives you build up this impulse, you want to enjoy it this way. So now you have to get this soul activated inside, right? You have to do some pious, link what you're doing to Krishna in some way, okay? And then you transcend the modes, right? So if you go back to those three situations, right? The goodness, passion, ignorance, and you're more likely to do that when you're in a detached mode of goodness, right? So when you see this, what can I use it for, right? A transcendentalist was always thinking, well, I need to use this for Krishna. I pick it up and use it for Krishna. How can I use it for Krishna? Oh, it's a key for a car. Maybe I can pick up some devotees or something, or maybe I can carry something for devotees or temple in my car, or do something like that. So it's this dovetailing idea that then pushes that above the modes, right? So the problem we have is this is not fully activated in us. We're in here, but sometimes the soul is not getting a chance to express itself. It's being dragged around by these previous impulses, from our previous births, which manifest themselves as the mind, yeah? And our tendencies of what we like and what we dislike. In fact, our enjoyment of ice cream, for example, if we really like ice cream, that's a tendency from previous lives. The soul actually its real interest is not anything material, whether it's ice cream or chips or fries or whatever you call them here, or Coca-Cola. It's not, this is an enjoying tendency for itself that it's covered up in, it's trapped. So what we're trying to do when we practice bhakti is we're trying to get to the point where we see something, we think, oh, how do we use that for Krishna, whatever it is. And that then becomes a struggle. So this guy in here, this soul, right, is doing bhakti, but it's still in the body. So it's like going, I want to use that for Krishna, but I sort of want it for myself. I want it for Krishna, I want it for myself. And so there's a struggle, yeah? Until there's more and more bhakti, and Krishna then comes and assists. Because actually he's not alone. I should have brought another Lego man. There is a super soul that's watching these tendencies, how you're dealing with this. As you try and dovetail, the super soul starts to assist. So, you're interested in me now. Okay, so let me try to help you. Yeah? So it will push down these tendencies. Yeah? That's why the japa, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is so important, because it reconnects you back into that spiritual energy. You know? Brings Krishna right into the picture, and then when you're thinking, let's say you stop doing japa and then you kind of find this object, you've just been thinking about Krishna, Krishna's been with you, you're more likely to use this for Krishna. So it keeps you above the modes of nature. Okay? So that's what we're trying to do. But we have to fight so many associations from previous births. So this is always going to be a struggle for us. You know? And that's why people who kind of start to understand this, they take regulative bhakti more and more seriously. Because it's not like they can't think of Krishna all the time, but they know the power of the material energy. They know how difficult the mind can be. They know what it's like to be stuck in this body and be taken left, right, and center, right? So they're going to be a bit more like, okay, how can I improve my regular day-to-day practice of bhakti? And what can I learn from other people? You know, to kind of make sure I'm not being taken over by the body, or my soul is getting to express its real need. Yeah? And the human form of life is very important, because we get an opportunity to use the intelligence of the mind. The animal mind can't do this. It doesn't have a choice, right? It has to go, the soul will have to go and kill the beast, right? Or do something horrible over there, or kill an enemy, you know? But the human mind, there's an opportunity to fight the nature, the modes of nature, within oneself. They're trying to express themselves in previous births. You know? So the use of the mind is very important. And with our japa, we're trying to empower that. You know? We're trying to keep the modes of nature away. And Prakriti, material nature, including the modes of nature, is subordinate to Krishna. He explains many times in the Bhagavad Gita that when that comes into contact with, let's say, the Maha Mantra, it's pushed out. It doesn't affect so much. Because by the rules of material nature, it has to be subordinate to the Lord. Yeah? It is the female and Krishna is the Purusa. Although we don't talk about human anatomical terms, it's not relevant to think of it that way. We're talking about in a metaphysical way. So what Arjuna has been brought to understand is that if you go and act in the modes of nature, there'll always be some reaction, right? And actually, as you increase in bhakti, what you'll become worried about when you start off is like, oh, I don't want anything to happen to me. What's this negative thing that's happening in my life? Let me try and go to Krishna. I'm distressed. Let me something help me. You know? But as you get more advanced, you realize that Krishna's on your side. So you might get material opulence. You might get some benefits. And then you're worried another way. What if I get attached to those things? Then maybe I'll slip back into a mode of passion. Yeah? So Krishna, don't give me too much material opulence. Don't give me too many things I want. Make sure you kick me now and again. You know? Don't make it too easy. Because I've still got to try and re-engage my soul with you. You know, I'm actually stuck in this kind of second covering, this dress that's going to actually not always be on your side because of the tendencies from previous lives. Yeah? And when it's not on your side, it's going to create karma, waves of karma. Yeah? So you have to be mindful of that. So what he's telling Arjuna now is that if you do your own nature that's been brought up in all the previous nodes, so imagine you've lived 100 lives, and you've picked up tendencies and modes of nature, mode of passion, mode of goodness. And you are going to basically, that misbehavior, being in the material world, you're going to sacrifice, you're going to dump that into a sacrificial altar of Krishna. By saying, okay, I have this body, I have a certain tendency in this body, right? We're all different, because we've all had different past experiences. Our souls have been in this world. Our souls are individually different as well, so have different natures. So we want to dump all that previous karma which manifests as our tendencies of the mode of nature in this life. We're going to dump that in the feet of Krishna and go, okay, now I'm going to use this thing that I'm stuck in, I'm going to use it for you. Yeah. Of course, I'm simplifying a little bit here. So, in chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, there's an example given of a tree, which is a reflection of what happens in the spiritual world. And this tree is an analogy of the tree is given to warn Arjuna. Okay? So you've got basically a tree that has lots of branches, it has twigs, and it has leaves. Right? So the branches represent the senses, the twigs represent the sense objects, and the leaves represent the Vedic hymns. So for a religious person, not necessarily a bhakta of Krishna, what they're supposed to do is engage eventually their senses and make sacrifice, religious sacrifice, practice Vedic rituals, religiosity, and use that to elevate themselves, rather than using the objects of the senses for their own pleasure. Whenever they use objects of the senses for their own pleasure, which is the ear goes onto the object of senses and creates a fruit, then the roots appear on this tree. And these roots cover the whole material world. And they have interactions that are very complicated. And Krishna has this maestro. He's like if you imagine a great orchestral maestro, a conductor, conducting an orchestra of, let's say, 20,000 people, which doesn't exist. There's no orchestra of 20,000 people. It's conducting every single one. Krishna is present alongside every soul as super soul. And when these interactions of self-interested pleasure happen, these roots form in the material world, these interactions, right? And Krishna is layering different people in different modes over each other. I'll give you an example, okay? 80 years ago, people built out of sheer labor, they probably destroyed a bit of the environment doing it, built the Empire State Building 100 years ago now, yeah? So it's a mode of passion, right? Mode of ignorance. Nothing to do with God, it's just man is so powerful, there's a big Empire State Building. And today, the people who were not born there, they're born now, they're born in the last 20, 30 years, they're going to enjoy this. They're also in a mode of passion, right? So that action in the material world, that creation of a skyscraper, and the more people are being born with previous karmic histories of different modes of nature, they're now enjoying this thing. Yeah? And all around us, like the cities, this urbanization we've created in the mode of passion, right? People are being born here in Kali Yuga because they have already got the tendency to enjoy this urbanization. Right? And that's why it's such a struggle for someone who's aspiring in devotion, because you're entering into a complex arrangement which is made really for people who are absorbed in the modes of nature. That's why the material world exists. So you're trying to get out of this, re-engage with the soul, re-engage back with Krishna, but you're surrounded in a prison that's really designed for other people to keep suffering, so they reform themselves. Otherwise, like whenever you move your eyes, you just see a picture of Krishna. Whenever you use your ears, you just hear some mantra or some song about Krishna or Prabhupada's speeches or whatever. You know, always be your senses will be constantly engaged in Krishna, you know, as if you are just a soul that's in the spiritual world. Okay? But it's not possible. You know? But you can start to analytically understand this world and go, You can see the politicians. They're in a mode of passion and ignorance, and they're creating things like flyovers, faster ways to go to the beach, to jump in the water and enjoy the body for yourself. You know, so all these things, networks of the modes of nature are happening through various bodies. Yeah. And then as you start seeing the world that way, you develop detachment. So by chapter 18, Arjuna has understood the tree and the modes of nature. So he's really like, okay, I can see why Duryodhana is there. I can see why Bhishma is there. What Bhishma has done wrong in previous lives. He shouldn't even be in this body. Neither should Drona. You know? And they're here, and they're about to suffer. Krishna wants them to suffer because of their misdeeds. You know? Accumulated over many lives, which has created the tendencies in them. And the biggest thing they did, of course, they should have dealt with Dushasana when he tried to disrobe Draupadi in the royal hall, and they didn't do anything about it. Yeah? Because they were sentimental about the Kauravas. They didn't distinguish between right and wrong. It's because from all their previous lives, they were enjoying too much. They didn't have the affinity for pure dharma. So that is their punishment that Krishna is now arranging Arjuna to do as his disciple. You know? A lot of people say, "Oh, Krishna, I don't want to do it for you. I want to walk off the battlefield. It's horrible." But Arjuna, by this point, really sees everything that's happening as part of Krishna's arrangement. So Krishna is saying to me, if you use your nature, of many previous births that's turned you into this warrior, use that for me. You're basically going to sacrifice all that previous karma and all the previous indulgences of the mode of nature. I'm going to be able to get rid of all of that for you. Wipe the slate clean. Which you're now acting for me. Yeah. Which is the end goal of suffering in the in the material body, human body or animal body. So this is what Krishna is trying to bring Arjuna to. And sometimes it's difficult to visualize things like rebirth and suffering. You know, we kind of struggle with that. And sometimes it can be very simple things to explain these things. So if you imagine that this body is made, your body is made of minerals, atoms, elements, right? Chemicals, water. And when you die, there are people, I'm sure there will be somebody that this happened to. When you die, all those, your soul goes out, and all these things turn back into material energy. And some people will almost be born as a goat because of their tendencies, and they'll be eating the grass made out of their previous material body. So that's one of the strongest ways to visualize is not the body. That's how different you are to the body. It's just the material energy. So don't get too attached to this thing, which is just very, very temporary. And what's happening is you're now in a world where people are using their previous modes, mode of passion, mode of vigorous, like I just said, to indulge more and more. And you're faced with advertisements, newspapers, common gossip at work. All these things are in the modes. Yeah? And what will happen is you become quieter and quieter at work. And go, I don't want to talk to these people because that's going to affect me. It's going to bring me to that mode of nature, right? So I'm going to be very, on a practical level, I'm going to be very careful. I went to an event a week ago or something. Somebody came up to me and said, and I think it was like a Bhakti event, and someone started talking to me about the news. And I was like, oh, I don't want to hear this. I just went and started singing. As soon as I started that person is obviously very much involved in material enjoyment. He wants to look at newspapers and mundane things like that, which are really temporary, phantasmagoria, permanent. So if I start doing that, I'm going to bring myself out to those modes of nature. So you have to be very careful. So here we've got a situation where Arjuna is being brought to, as you get to the end of this chapter, there's a very famous verse, which says, if you surrender unto me, I will protect you from all types of fear. You do not need to worry. There's quite a few people who've just read that part of it. Like, surrender unto me, I will protect you from the reactions of all sin. Do not worry. Be free from anxiety, and then become Krishna conscious because of that verse. Just understanding that, because they go, Krishna is ultimately the master of the senses. He's the ultimate say-so. So if we look at 2 verses before this, I think it's 2 verses before this, you'll see what, which is verse 18-14. Ajistanam tata kata karanam cha pita vidam vivastas cha pitra sesta vevam chakrita panchamam. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the supersoul. These are the 5 factors of action. So the first 4 elements are products of the modes of nature in the previous births. But the sanctioner is the supersoul. So we have to understand that the supersoul is always witnessing. It's in our body and it's in all bodies. Yeah? So when you're having an argument with someone at work, like disagreement at work, supersoul is in that body, the supersoul is in this body. But because you're a devotee, or in my case trying to be a devotee, you're aware that whatever's going to happen here, the ultimate sanction is going to be Krishna as a paramount one, represented as a 4-arm form in the heart of that person. So I don't need to get too involved, I don't need to get too stressed. That gives you that detachment of thinking, oh God, I'm going to respond in some way. And then the modes come up, passion and then ignorance, and you start thinking you're a doer. As if in the ultimate universal history of time, you're going to make a difference by rallying back to this person. It's not going to happen. Because all that's happening here is this, they're building up some karma in some way. If they're being aggressive on one of the lower modes, or it has to be extinguished somewhere else. It could be good or bad. Good karma has to be spent, bad karma there has to be some punishment. So you're like, ooh. And then you've got to be mindful. Like, imagine you're wearing a miner's hat with a light on, and you're in a cave. It's not material world's like that, and you're going to go, ooh, that's a bit sharp. Or that might be a spider. Or, and sometimes the world is like this. As you become more sincere in your bhakti, because you're trying to protect your relationship with Krishna, that's the thing you're trying to. It's going to become the most precious thing in your life, if it isn't already. And you want to protect it from all the things around it as well. Lord Chaitanya talks about the creeper of bhakti. Right? And it has to be protected initially when it shoots up from the ground. It has to be protected, and a lot of weeds around. And where your mind is depends on whether you're watering the weeds or you're watering the bhakti creeper. This is in the 19th chapter of Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, giving lessons to Rupa Goswami. He's talking about this creeper. And the reason for that is in the Bhagavad Gita. So when you contemplate away from Krishna, you're dropping into the modes, which is inevitable because you're in this body. The body is there to be driven to energy, and you're having to restrain it. So, any questions at this point?
It's very hard to restrain.
Restrain.
It's very hard. I'm sorry. It's getting harder and harder for me.
Yeah, but you're
Like
trying.
I'm sick this morning and I wanted to do some japa, but I got so frustrated. I was like, I'm having a headache.
Yeah.
I couldn't concentrate. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't do it. I was like, I'm tired. I want to go home. Like, it was just so stressful. My job was so stressful today. It was just, I just had enough of today.
Yeah, sometimes you have that. We all have days like that.
It just gets like, you wanted to concentrate. I had so much. I cried so much in the morning. I apologized to Krishna again and again and again. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't do it. It's too hard. It's too hard. It's too hard. And it's just, I'm having those days.
Yeah, but you'll get that's up and down in life. Sometimes you get to. Sometimes some people are trying to do. You can do japa for 7 hours. You eventually will have to have a break. You have to go to the toilet or something. You have to have a break. So there's a part of the body. Krishna factors in the fact you're in the body. It's a difficult position to be in. He's seeing everything.
I mean, everything was going great. Like in the morning, my body just crashed. It was just like I couldn't even concentrate. I was just sitting there and I just cried my eyes out. And I was like,
Sometimes you can try another. So you can try just putting on music, singing some mantra. It doesn't always have to be. There are 9 forms of bhakti. It doesn't always. If you can't do japa because you're unwell, there's other things you can do. And if you can't do that, just rest. Sometimes you just need to get the body a chance. This body is a tool to be used for Krishna. If you don't let it recover, if you don't look after it, if you don't have a break and then come back stronger. Determination in bhakti is about what happens when things don't work out for some reason. You're supposed to do some sort of special 24-hour kirtan, and then somebody in your family dies and you can't attend the 24-hour kirtan, or 12-hour kirtan, or whatever it is. That is part of the. But it's the determination to then go, okay. Doesn't mean you give up. It just means you have a rest. You do whatever you need to do, whether it's bodily wise or family wise, and you come back. And it's all about progressive detachment. We're in the process of progressive detachment.
I feel like a failure. That's all I feel.
Oh, we are not. You're here. So
I feel like that Krishna is gonna get upset. Like she's not doing her job properly. And I mean, I get up in the morning and try to make breakfast, and I always put Prabhupada in the back. I always listen to one or 2 lectures. I love listening to Prabhupada in the morning. You can ask him. I just love listening to his voice in the morning. It's just made my day. And I always look for his lectures and what he always talks about. It just resonates in my head. But it just, today I just tried so hard. I can't do it.
that's okay. But in 10 days you'll be well, and you'll be back at it. And you'll come back stronger than ever because you had a bit of a rest.
Will Krishna get upset or something?
No, not
The material body.
Yes, material body is part of that.
It's
We have what's called 3-fold miseries. You see that mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. 3-fold miseries of the world. The miseries caused by your own body and mind as well. Your own mind can plague you. Sometimes their body, they can do japa all day, but their mind is not right.
Yeah.
And then you've got the material nature around you. the demigods and so on, affecting what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then Krishna acting through the demigods, giving you some kicking a lesson, which is very important. I think you spoke about that last time. So, you have to be resilient. It's the key, and you're going to be resilient because as soon as you're better, you're going to come back, right? So that's a natural part of the process.
Like this is like a confession box for me. I always confess what's going on.
That's good.
It's just, sometimes like I tried so hard. I just got like 3 rounds done in the morning. I was doing walking to work and I just like, just get something done. So I just did like 3 rounds.
It's amazing when you're ill.
That's 3 rounds.
Kind of
good, better than 0.
There are a lot of people out there feeling well and not doing any rounds.
Yeah.
Not even doing anything. Don't even know who Krishna is.
That was perfect. So.
Yeah, cool.
Actually, I had one little pasta actually when I went to visit my Guru Maharaj in Govardhan in Vrindavan. So I was really excited, because I get to stay with him, associate with him, do some service for him. As the day that I rocked up at his ashram, I got violently ill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like really heavy virus, So then I was just in one of the rooms in the ashram, and I was sick all day. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't associate with him. Couldn't serve him. This was for a week, over a week, And I was vomiting, and sharing my around was like, my God, it was a nightmare. I was so sick. I didn't know what. I was like, why is this happening to me? Krishna. And I would just come in the evening because I used to go for a japa walk in the evening, just like at sunset. So I would try to take care of my body really well, so at least I could attend the japa walk, which is 15 minutes, And that was all I could do, Even though the whole other time I could have had this association or whatever, but my body just wouldn't allow it. So
sometimes when I get ill and I'm going to meet somebody quite elevated devotee, I know it's because Krishna's protecting me from doing something offensive. So that's what I think anyway. And I look back on my mind and I go, actually my mind was probably too materialistic. I wasn't detached from work and stuff. That's probably a good thing I got ill. And you look back on it and go, actually there's a reason why. Actually sometimes there's a reason. Krishna's trying to protect you from something. And sometimes people get ill and something could have happened to them, but they've been ill. They're actually, Krishna's controlling their body in a different way. They're trying to protect them from some horrible thing, or sometimes protect them from getting something, that might distract them from bhakti. So once you're surrendering to Krishna, he's always going to try and keep you on the path. He doesn't want you to necessarily, even if you look like a bit of a rebel, he's going to keep you back and bring you back. Once if you start with sincerity in the process, you've got Krishna on your side. If you're doing it out because it looks cool to kind of, go on a kirtan on the beach or something, the sincerity will be less. Not that Krishna may not reciprocate that, but if you're approaching with sincerity and going, I can't do it, I want to do bhakti, I want to try and make reason of this world and what my position in this world is, and who I really am, and Krishna's going to help you. And these little things that go wrong, because it's only temporary. And our existence here in this world is only temporary. And so we can only make the best of it that we can with, we can only ask Krishna for more sincerity and more mercy so we can carry on improving. And we have to be humble about that. Ultimately, we shouldn't be here in the first place. No, that's all part of being here. But is it time for, is it 7:20 now?
Yeah, 7:25.
Yeah, I think, because I think a lot of people have to go in as well, so I think we'll stop here.
I'm gonna cry right now, seriously.
Oh, you let it out if you need to.
I just told everybody,